introduced to this suppressor, the Zenith. And what immediately attracted me to it was the muzzle brake. I thought it was really clever.
Casts a lot of light. I mean, you probably won't be able to tell entirely when you're in here, but you know, I mean, it
That's
casts
good in the dark.
$21. Like it's the best $21 I spent on my deer season this year.
I knew I wasn't going to get out of this podcast without spending some money. Luckily, this one's not too
Good.
big a
Yeah.
hit. What is up, everybody? We've got a pretty full house today. I've got Mr. Ryan Muckenhern to my right, not across from me today.
It's quite a chair.
But across from me, I have Mr. Mike Griffin. We generally find him down at Vortex Edge. We have Tucker Schmidt and Mr. Eric Barber. And you're going to recognize a couple familiar faces from a podcast we did last year. We've got some new faces. And this is, well, right now, if you're listening, well, I guess you'd be listening at any time. But right now, for us, it's 2024.
Just barely.
But this is the 2023 Gear in Review, where we all brought some neat items that we got to use this last year. It's not necessarily a new item in 2023. It's just maybe a new to us item that we used. Reviews are a big deal, guys. When selecting a product, reviews are extremely powerful. But nothing like bugs me more when I'm going through reviews. I'm trying to make a purchase decision, and it's 5-star review, and then the person follows that with "haven't used it yet."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, why did you?
That was the 10% off coupon to leave a review.
Yeah.
If it was 5 stars.
So that's not what we're doing here.
No.
Because we've used all these products, and I feel like they're vetted to a level where we can provide a level of endorsement.
Deal.
There, I said it.
I dig it.
I have an admission.
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
Do we need to go off air for this?
We know it's coming.
This
Okay.
Unbelievable. I'll see myself out.
Honest moment here.
Preamble. Wrap.
You know what, though, Ryan?
5 stars.
We've used their other actions, and they are great.
I find you at a level of knowledge and expertise that you can spot a fine item, and I trust your judgment on this.
Deal.
Did he say Spotify?
That was an audible.
Spotify.
I don't understand.
Spot a fine.
Oh, Spotify. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 words.
Yeah. I thought you said
like that.
Spotify. And item. Yeah.
I do have Spotify. I feel like that's not
a good app.
But
good app.
not many people use it, though.
Apple Music, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
Everybody
do you have to pay
use
for
that.
Spotify?
No, it's free.
Oh, it's free.
If you
I pay
like
for it.
ads, it's free.
yeah.
I pay for Spotify.
I don't like ads. I endure the ads.
Yeah, there's a difference.
You don't listen to anything but AM radio.
No, I listen.
Actually, I did get into Boardman's truck the other night, and there was kind of a modern rock station on.
Okay.
But typically, you get into the
AM.
Oh yeah, every time.
Are you kidding me?
No, you get into his truck. It's like winter wheat has gone up another 2%.
You always do that.
I didn't know anybody listened to that.
And the local
We
school
found
board
him.
is voting on a new lunch menu item every single time. And then he pulls up and he's like drinking his coffee,
Out of the mug.
and he's like listening. He's like, "Good, winter wheat is up."
That's good knowledge to have. That could be useful.
It's fantastic.
It is the all-American dad radio.
Oh yeah.
I've been
It's
waiting
good
my
stuff.
whole life to find a guy to listen to AM radio. We got to do another podcast on that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that type of information on mainstream FM radio.
No.
That's the stuff they don't want you to know.
That's right.
Breaking news: Taylor Swift at Chiefs game. That's not on AM. That's an FM.
That's an FM thing. Should we talk about gear?
Oh, yeah. That's
right.
what we're doing.
5 stars.
Yep.
I think we'll go clockwise from me. I'll use myself as, I guess, the
What number are you?
edge
You're
of
the true north.
I'm gonna be. I'll go last.
So you're 12.
I don't know. We'll start with Mike.
Boom.
Okay.
Make that
you
easy.
want all 3 or we?
Yeah, let's
at
go
a time.
through all 3. And kind of the why behind them.
Okay. All right. So in no particular order, Kestrel shot timer, actually new for this year. So in the past, I've used a variety of timers. All of them have their positives and weaknesses. The nice thing about this one is it's got a pretty solid warranty, 5-year warranty, which is kind of unheard of for timers. Timers have a tendency to get thrown around the range.
Dropped, lost,
Drop.
rain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So weather and being dropped are the things that kills them. The other thing that is kind of a hassle with the majority of other timers is the user interface, the graphic like menu. And this one's pretty awesome. So you can look at like all the different options that you want to, run through as far as like par times and delays and those sorts of things all in one main screen. And then if you've ever used a Kestrel before, it has a very similar layout of buttonology and menu. So it also has presets, which is not unique to the Kestrel, but the layout is generally easier to use. So I can have like a preset for dry fire. I can have a preset if I'm teaching by myself so that I have to like run my timer for myself on a delay, or I can have a preset that is set up so it's instant where I'm running a student or another shooter, and I can have that instant feedback with no part time and high tone. I think it's also probably the loudest timer I've ever used.
Can we get a?
You want to
Yeah,
hear
I
it?
wanna-
So
Also,
Sample
it has
that.
like the set. Like, yeah, I agree. That thing is 5 stars.
yeah, so
for sure.
that's my preset. Yep. All right, stand by.
Holy
Yeah,
buckets.
that thing's got some pop.
Yeah.
So like if you're using it for yourself on the range, just practicing live fire, medium is fine. High is honestly, I've had people like blast me in the ear with it, and it's like, it was funny the first time. After that, it's like that kind of hurts. Like that's loud. Like
But
you need
you always
ear pro.
get that deaf guy that's like, make sure you put it right up to my ear.
Yeah.
This
You know?
is not a problem. Like
That's
you
not
can
a
run
problem.
an entire line of people, and nobody is like, did the tone go? I didn't hear it. I'm just shooting because the guy next to me is shooting. Like everybody on the line should hear this one. It also has a very quiet setting that you can use for dry fire so that your spouse doesn't murder you.
Yeah, in the house.
That thing, it's like they took the guts out of the smoke detectors that are always going off
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
and somehow lengthened the tone.
It also has 2 screens, so you can look at it. Like the thing that was different is getting away from having a timer that has a button on the side. Like, that's what I'm accustomed to. But now it's just like, okay, hold like this. But you can also look at the screen this way and review stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it overall. It's been a good addition.
One other cool thing about that too is like all the strings that you can see in one, right? Rather than going through
Oh,
shot
yeah,
to
yeah.
shot, it will display the whole string, right?
If I hit, not only will it display the whole string, but I don't know what the limit is. I have currently 51 strings.
There's no limit. We'll go no limit.
Of information in there. And so if I were to shoot the same drill repetitively, or multiple people shoot the same drill repetitively, I can go through and look at all of your splits in comparison. As long as you don't, like shoot something Comstock and you threw an extra round in there or whatever, right? Like I can look at what your draw time is compared to the next guy, etc.
Yeah, I haven't seen that feature on any other timer. I'm not saying it's not out there, but that was the first time I'd seen it.
The other thing, which like you can add to cart and it'll be at your house in less than a week. So, when you look at like all the different timers that are in my collection of timers, the one that comes closest to it has a pretty long lead time to get access to it. But like this is kind of everything. Substantial warranty. It's weatherproof. It's got an awesome menu. It's loud. It has a lot of presets, all those sorts of things. And also, I guess the screen is really set up for like you can click it on your pocket and then look at the top screen. You can look down on the
That's cool.
info instead of having to like, change the position of the thing. So
I used to put my CED inside of a mag pouch,
yeah,
and then I'd have
A
to
little
fish
Kydex
it
pouch.
out of there and then look at the screen and then put it back in.
yeah. So I've only had it for maybe a couple of months because they are relatively new to the market, but so far I've been pretty happy with it. That's item number 1.
I like that it's brightly colored.
Yeah, you're not going to lose
Yeah.
it.
You can lose a CED,
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
you
black.
can.
Yep.
and they're this big.
And they're tiny.
Yeah.
Well, and what's funny is I got this as a result of losing my Pro Timer 2 or whatever, Pocket Pro 2, whatever
the blue
old
ones.
blue ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody sees a Pocket Pro 2 with a little piece of tape that says the Neuralizer on the front of it, that's mine. I'd like to get it back.
Dude, that's like losing a Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
it's like-
I
so-
still have a Pocket Pro, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But-
At this point, I have a pretty good collection of them. So,
Sweet.
next is the SureFire Stiletto Pro, I believe. Yeah. They have a model that's very similar to this. It's made out of polymer. This one's made out of aluminum. I don't know the specs on the other one. This one, up to 1,000 lumens, rechargeable. It's got a low, medium, high on one button, and then the rear button just gives you, full power. Programmable button, so you have a couple of choices of what the rear button does and a couple choices of what the non-tactical button does. Big thing for me is it's rechargeable. So Ryan and I were actually talking about this yesterday. There's some things I don't care about being rechargeable, like the ability to hot swap batteries in the field is super important. If I'm going to be using something for potentially like 10, 20 plus hours, I need to be able to swap the battery out. But for something like this, it's a great everyday light where if I get home and I think like, oh, I used my light a bunch today, I can just plug it in, top it off, and I'm not like throwing away batteries. I'm also not like, I don't know if I have a full charge or not, so let me swap the batteries out, and then I've got these batteries that I have no idea how much is left in them. I can just top it off and I'm back to 100%. So
how long does that thing go for? Do you know?
So the low output is like 20 some hours.
Oh wow, that's
the
good.
high output is I think an hour and a half.
Okay.
So, and it has a little battery gauge on it, so you hit
that's
that
cool.
button and it gives you a little green light or some other color. That's also how you program it. So if you want to change the button, performance, you can use that button.
Marco and I were just talking about lights the other day.
Yeah.
And you remember the E2L Outdoorsman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was 45
little executive.
lumens.
45.
45, and it was
Wow.
and it was incandescent.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And so to think you hold 1,000 lumen solution in your hand now.
Yeah.
And it's like when I got that light, I felt a certain kind of way. And I was like, I have a $200 flashlight. I lost first one. It's in South Dakota.
So I had an SureFire Aviator.
Oh yeah,
which,
Marco had one of them too.
It was the cluster of LEDs around the incandescent light, and I feel like that was maybe kind of the predecessor to this guy because you got low output and you got the high output. But I had it's white only. The Aviator I had was red and white, but I think you could get that in white and white.
My Aviator was red, green, and white.
Where did that light go?
It's missing in action right now, but I think it is in my house.
That's good.
Narrows it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That is going to be a Christmas when you find that.
Oh, well, I've lost it like 4 times.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I'm like, it'll turn up again.
You get like 4 Christmases out of it.
Yeah. Very unique shape to this light.
Yeah, so it sits kind of flat in your pocket. I would say it takes a little getting used to. Like, I don't know. I've reprogrammed it, and I'm trying out the different setups. So right now I've got it set up where you press the tail cap button, and it stays on. And then you have to press it again to turn it off. The other alternative is it's momentary, and if you tap it a handful of times, it'll give you a strobe, which I don't really care about. But I like having the option of constant.
Kind of always at the ready.
With the tail cap. Yeah.
Can you replace the rechargeable battery that's in there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously hardware that, it's got fasteners that are exposed that, I guess you could crack it open, but I haven't seen anybody describe the process of replacing it.
Manufacturer would probably
SureFire
lean you
probably
away from
wouldn't
that.
want you to do
Got
that,
it.
but I guess if you sent it into them and you're like, oh man, this is a
Right, yeah.
very important light to me. Can you swap the battery out?
Trying
Maybe
to
they
get
would
it
do
into
it.
disco mode.
So I have it programmed so it won't do
no disco mode?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
change it if you want to.
No, that's all right.
Rave out.
I thought it was pretty neat. I'm looking here, and there's 2 threaded inserts that are exposed. And I was like, I wonder what those are for. It's to reverse the clip, so you can go to hat mode. That's pretty cool.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I dig it, though. I like that.
That is sweet.
So,
Yeah, what does that thing weigh, you think? Pretty big,
I didn't look up the specs. It's not terribly heavy
Yeah.
when you compare it to like a 2-cell, standard SureFire light or Streamlight, whatever your brand of choice is. It's a little bit bigger. Like I used to carry a single cell light from Streamlight as my kind of everyday light, and it's a little bit more noticeable in the pocket than that. But I feel like I go through fewer batteries. Obviously, I just have to recharge that. Whereas with the Streamlight, I would go through a 123, particularly if I was traveling, because I don't always carry spare 123s with me when I'm traveling. I would burn through the 123, and then I would have to find like a AA that I could, stick in it. That was one advantage of the Streamlight that I had. Whereas with this, it's just like, okay, I used it a bunch throughout the day, plug it in, and it's good to go. So,
yeah, I like the idea of the rechargeable flashlight.
Yeah,
first time I thought about that. That's clever.
For an EDC type thing, like you said,
Yeah.
just you top it off. It's like you treat it like your cell phone.
Yeah.
Right. Very cool.
Yep. And then the last item is actually 2 items. I broke the rules of 3 items.
That's
our new tripod, and then
Switchback.
the baby razor.
Yep.
So, I in the past, when we would go out and have when our outdoor season would start, we have lots of gear that we have to take out to the range, set up, be able to support. Spotting for students, spotting for demos and things like that. And so it was always like, one of our large carbon tripods and one of our large razor optics. And it's like those are very capable independently. Together, they're a little bit heavy for what I needed. And so when I first saw this, I was like, okay, like for one, I really like the ball head on this because I can just throw a lever and I can pan around. I can make adjustments, dial in on a target, that sort of thing. And it's pretty simple. I also have a lot of range of motion on that ball head. And it's, just very helpful for me. Then, the baby razor is obviously a step up from our old 11 to 33 power, razor spotting scope. And I've just been super impressed with it. And the combination together, I think I weighed it once. This combo is lighter than our standard
Radiant tripod.
Wow. Together. So if you like, I don't know. I think it's a pretty awesome setup.
It's so funny that you brought. I almost brought that exact setup.
Yeah.
Which seems on the surface to me like an unlikely setup. I mean, this is a pretty robust tripod, and then you got the Razor 13 to 39.
So and I bought that 13 to 39 before I got the switchback.
Yep.
And I had the 13 to 39 with our lightweight
the Summit
carbon tripod, and thought, man, that's like a match made in heaven. I'll never use that spotter without that. But on that Nebraska hunt that I was on, I actually shot off that thing.
Did you really?
That's really sweet.
That's where the money's
So
at.
like for if I was going on like a South Dakota mule deer hunt, I've been thinking about this a bunch because I should draw South Dakota next year. I'm gonna bring that exact setup and then just have my gun ready to go. So when I spot something using the spotter, I can just swap just like you did there. Boom, get on the gun.
Yeah.
And you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So you got one system that does 2 things now versus like having a redundant pair of shooting sticks or something, and you're getting a much better hold on that than you are any shooting sticks.
Yeah,
like that thing is money.
For how big that tripod appears to be, it's actually very, very light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
they're
the
like
size and stability.
4.3.
Yeah, it really is surprising how light it actually weighs. And I've traveled a lot shooting matches and various things, and I've switched to that one. For one, like the circumference is a lot smaller, and again, the weight obviously is a big factor.
And you usually shoot pretty heavy weight rifles, right?
Yeah. If typically I don't shoot off the tripod, but it is nice to have that option if you do need to, especially in a hunting situation with a medium to light gun. Like that is more than capable of getting you stable.
And rear support.
That's the biggest.
In a match, like
100%.
it's great. You don't need as heavy of a tripod,
right?
For that task, right?
Correct.
And so, it's been a great. Like I've used it at a couple of matches, either to spot off of or for rear support, and it's been great. I've used it in our hunter's marksmanship class to shoot off of, and I've been super happy with it. And then using it, as a spotter system, it has been great.
Yeah, that versus the Radiant, like the downside would be like Mike's saying, as a rear support. Once you get down onto those lower legs, you do notice a little more wobble in there than you would with that bigger Radiant tripod. So there's still a place for that one, but for weight, and if you're worried about weight and what you're carrying, that thing knocks it out of the park. So,
Well, and I will say, like, shooting off of it, you do give up a little initially,
bit.
I was like, I don't know if I need a radiant anymore.
Right.
And then the more I shot off of it, I was like,
there's
definitely a little more play in it. But it's one of those things you got to balance. Like, how much gear do I want to carry?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And do I need that level of stability for the weight gun that I'm shooting and the target distance and difficulty?
My favorite thing about this pod is the secret menu item on it, where you can pull the head off.
Yeah.
And then you can put our like universal adapter on there, and you can put any pan head, you could put any accessory you wanted on there. And the thing is a system. And you hardly know it when you look at it.
Or just throw a bag on top of it.
I think I just learned something. We have an attachment that fits in there.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Okay, I'm not the only one. I haven't seen that. Yeah.
So it's not talked about. Secret menu item.
We got a video. We'll drop it in the comment.
There you go.
In the link below.
Little puck. It's got a 3/8 and a 1/4 20.
Okay, screw stick. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And drop it on, and then any attachment that you want.
Yeah.
Got it.
I did not know that existed.
Same.
Yeah.
Secret
Check
menu
out the
item.
description. It'll be in the description.
That's cool. That is a pretty sweet combo.
Under secret menu.
Yeah.
Under secret menu.
Click for secret menu only.
I like it.
Yeah, that's
Same.
cool.
That's 3 good items, Mike.
Yeah,
agreed.
So real quick,
I've
just
been
to
super happy with this.
so we got the switchback carbon tripod, the Razor HD 13 to 39 spotting scope, which we often call the baby razor. The flashlight was
The SureFire Stiletto Pro.
and then the timer.
Kestrel timer. So
Okay.
Kestrel only makes one timer at this time, but it's the KST 1000 is their model.
Cool. Tucker,
I'm up.
you are up.
So I got a couple things. 2, I didn't follow the rules either, so I used
It's more of a guideline.
I used his 4th thing as my 3rd, so we're on 1. So this year, actually it was prior, maybe late 2022, I found this like modular pack system. It probably still has some goodies in here.
Yeah. There we are.
Don't forget.
Don't forget
That'll
the
be my
dude
4th
wipes.
item.
Yeah.
Or 3rd.
That's how you can tell it was used.
Are those the cooling ones?
I haven't gone that far.
Okay.
Yeah, just staying clean for now. Those add 1.5 ounces, the minty flavor. So.
Well worth it.
So anyways, what it is at its core, it's a Mainframe backpack. No secret, no surprise. But the cool thing that Eberlestock did, and I'm not sure if it's unique to them or not, but they got the zippers that come down, and I can have however many packs I want, basically in one. So the 5,000, the 2,500, which is this one, or sometimes you can just for a whitetail saddle style hunt, I could even just put 1 or 2 of these to it, and stuff the saddle inside. Very lightweight system. So the Mainframe, is just that. You buy that separately, and then you can kind of buy, pick and choose whatever packs then you do want to add to it. As a whole, it's a pretty light package. I think roughly the Vapor series are a pound and a half, depending on the one you get. And then the Mainframe's obviously a little bit over that because it is aluminum frame, but super comfortable. Works well under load bearing. I know they did a video where they put 1,300 pounds in one.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
I don't know who's carrying that much, but not myself.
No.
So yeah, did some Colorado hunting this year twice, and it's just a great all around pack, whether you're camping or just day hunting. So I've been pumped on it.
I like it.
Yeah, that thing is sweet. Have you? So does this serve as kind of like your load support then?
Yep, it does. And then obviously if you're carrying weight, you can unzip, back the pack off, stick the meat in between. The shelf will kind of support the weight.
Gotcha.
And then they give you a ton of different straps and pieces that you can plug in and zip down if you have different variable loads and whatnot.
I always like those stretchy pockets too, because if you do fill it to the brim, you got a little bit of play there.
Yeah, which often happens.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit on it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, everything that you're going in and out of the pack for typically goes into that pocket.
Yeah.
And then I actually have a lid for it too that gives you phone keys, whatever kind of stuff you may want to just stuff in there before you go. But yeah, it's been great. I like the lightweight and the adjustability. It's really been good for me. So.
Super cool. It makes a ton of sense for a saddle pack too, like you were saying.
That's really just a couple of, I think they call these the Batwing, and they're very small, just enough for essentials, and then the saddle, the platform, and everything will kind of go underneath that.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool.
But yeah, it's been good.
Nice.
Next one.
Dude wipes.
Just kidding. The next thing, shameless plug, Vortex Impact 4000. This is something we released just a short time ago. If you're a rifleman of any type, this is kind of a cheat code to the whole thing. I know we've done podcasts on it and we have a ton of videos out, but new to me, new to Vortex, so it's been great, right? What it is at its core, if you haven't seen those other videos, is a weapons-mounted rangefinder with ballistic solver. So from the time you can locate a target inside of your rifle scope, range it, get a data to shot is really just a couple seconds, if that, once you kind of practice a little bit, whether that be target shooting or hunting. They kind of work in both environments. Anytime you have unknown yardage, it's really been a really cool thing that the engineers kind of put together.
Then one of the, at least to me, the fact that you're using your rifle scope, you know, oftentimes a higher mag optic, like I use the Razor GB4000 a lot. In fact, that's probably like my go-to, right? Yeah. But being able to use your rifle scope as the optic and your reticle to know that you're getting that absolute pinpoint range,
right?
And like you said, and you're shaving time, and I mean, there's all a lot of assets.
So
there.
A lot of the, like you said, that you're using your rifle scope. Typically, if you're aiming with a rifle versus holding a handheld, you're going to get a lot more stable before you go to range a target. Which, if you've ever used a rangefinder, like you can range the wrong thing. So that does help with that. Not to mention, a lot of times the glass in the scope is going to be a little better than whatever you're spotting with. And then if you see it in this rifle scope, all you have to do is push a button, look up, look down, and you're ready to go. You don't have to go grab your binos or your rangefinder and get back in. So it really does offer a time, saving solution to hunting or target shooting.
Yeah, I definitely think about that from the hunting side, like the ability of not like having to come off the gun. Like if you're hunting, mule deer, rutting mule deer during the rut, and they're moving all over the place, a lot of times just that difference of like going to your rangefinder and then back to your rifle, like they can be in and out of a lane, and it's over.
Well, then you go to you put down your binos to find your rifle scope. You're like, wait, where the hell was it? It can be hiding behind X bush. Plus, they all blend into the background, so it really kind of saves some of that as well. So
like you said, or you've got animals that are, even if you have the opportunity to re-range, you might have to be like, okay, let's say 430 yards. Right. And you get down on the gun, you're like, oh, God, he
moved again.
Right. So it really does streamline that process, helps eliminate errors, not to mention like the data in that thing is on board. So it will give you a weather solution right where you're sitting rather than the nearest airport or whatever. So a lot of pros, very little cons. So it's been a great piece of kit for me.
Sweet.
I dig it. Is that it?
That's what I got. Unless you want to get into the.
Those are two heavy hitters.
If we have time, we'll circle back.
Okay, we'll circle back.
Mr. Eric.
So I got 3 things here, and they're all part of my whitetail kit. I guess starting off, the one I use probably the most is this is a new to me saw this year. I had a Wicked tree gear saw from back in the days of Todd Prignitz running that company. I actually bought it from Todd at a trade show back in like 2015, and it's like my most sentimental saw. And I never thought I'd replace it, but this year I did for this Outdoor Edge flip and zip saw. I was hunting with a buddy, and I said, man, this Wicked saw is the best saw I ever made. He's like, well, let me show you this. And he pulled this thing out. And what I love about it is it's 2.6 ounces, so it weighs nothing.
It's like a pencil.
It's unbelievable.
It's light.
And it folds like totally flat. Like when you look at it, your cell phone has a higher profile in it, so you can stuff it in that front zippered portion of like the glass pack, and it goes in there. So think about when you need your saw. It's if you're going up and down a tree or something like that. Well, you don't want to have to. Rarely do you have your backpack, and if you do, your backpack is on your back. Well, now you got to like fish into your pack, get your saw, whatever. Or you would have had to like taken your saw out ahead of time, put it in a pocket. Now it's catching on stuff as you're going up the tree. This thing sits right in that front pouch of your glass pack as you're going up the tree. It's like boom, I need to cut that limb. Zip in. Cut it off, flip and zip,
then zip,
flip and zip, and it's awesome. So I threw a little bit of if there is one knock on it,
a little slippery.
It's slippery. It's like a very smooth metal finish on it. So I just took some hockey tape and taped it up to make it a little bit more tacky. Also cuts down on the tinginess of it being a metal on metal thing. So it's a sweet little. It's $20 $1 at Shields. Like, it's an awesome, sweet little saw.
I also have that saw, and I was checking your tape out because
Yeah.
I've tried to pull multiple times and zoop, slip out. It is a little bit slick, so I'm going to steal your hockey tape.
The hockey tape thing is a cool one too, because I mean, even like we talked about earlier, if there is off air, like if you ever need tape, you got it right on your saw. So you can just kind of use it for something.
Nice.
So
so I've got a wicked saw too, actually, and got it from Todd back in the day.
Yep.
And it's a great saw, but also like looking at that, comparatively, like the level of weight and bulk that has, and giving other saws a little credit, maybe the blade's a little bit longer, but
that wicked saw, you're cutting through literally anything.
Yeah.
Like this
is like 1.5 inches or smaller.
Yeah. You're not limbing a tree with like 6-inch limbs on this thing. Although I did have to get into one that was fairly substantial. And it worked.
and it worked.
On private land, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's the Outdoor Edge Flip and Zip, $21. Like it's the best $21 I spent on my deer season this year.
I knew I wasn't going to get out of this podcast without spending some money. Luckily, this one's not too
Good.
big a hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have a lot of things. All of their detachable knives, I forget exactly what the name is.
Yeah.
They're $20-$30. I mean, I can't tell you how many deer I cut up this year with a $20 knife.
Seriously.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that actually even comes in a kit. Like you can buy the whole like Outdoor Edge kit, and it comes with.
Take that off, put a new blade.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm a huge fan of it. Like, it was something that I added this year that I didn't expect to be as excited as I am, and like it is, of all the things, that's the one I'm most jacked up about.
I love. I generally like hunt the same pants a lot because I keep a ton of stuff in my side pockets, including my saw. I switched pants. I can't remember what happened. I got them dirty or bloody or something. I can't remember. Soiled them. Yeah, saw a big buck.
Dude wipes.
If only.
Gotta have those with.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have my saw with me. So like the ability to have it stay in your bino harness, which
It
I
fits
always
perfectly.
have, and just have that be part of that standard kit, it would be, I'm liking that.
Just like Eric said, it fits so nicely right in that front little zipper pouch. I mean, it's just like built for it. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's like the slightly thinner than a vanilla wafer.
Yeah,
perfect.
It's a great analogy.
Americans will use anything but
Yeah,
the metric system. It's one vanilla wafer thick.
yeah, it's one full wafer.
We would
that
be
is
we
hilarious.
would be more likely to standardize the vanilla wafer
Yeah.
than the metric system.
Yeah.
That's true.
What else you got, Eric?
So the next one, this has been going on, I think, my 3rd year of using these, and I freaking dig them. They are, and a lot of brands make these.
Oh, those are the zip-offs.
Yeah, so these are First Lite's 350 weight furnace long johns. So they're 350 long john.
Wow.
What's the cheat code on these is their zip off. So what I really like about them is like you get into the rut, you get into, early November, it's cold. A lot of times the places I'm hunting, I'm walking in quite a ways to get there, and I want to go in cold because I don't want to get super sweated up, and I absolutely hate taking my boots off once I get to the tree.
That's the worst, yeah.
So this gives you the ability to drop it, whether it's like it's your bibs or even just a pair of like warmer pants. Like you can just drop them to your ankles. You got your
that's cool.
Yeah, usually you have like a lightweight pair of long johns on underneath. You throw these on over the top of that, zip them up on the side. You're ready to go. And you're the other thing, by putting them on immediately, like once you get to the tree, that is when you're at your warmest.
Yeah.
So you put them on, you trap all that body heat. You're taking advantage of like exerting that energy on the way in. You've worked up a sweat, you're a little warm, and you might not think like, oh man, I'm hot right now, I don't actually need them. Put them on right then and there. One, it's going to save you the hassle in an hour and a half when you do cool off. You got to get down and do it, and then that's when the buck comes by. And 2, you're trapping that body heat, and you're just going to stay a lot warmer. And I really like that they are 3/4 length.
Yeah.
Yes.
That way you don't get in the way of the boots.
Exactly. And when you drop your pants down, you got that extra bit bunched up kind of around your ankles.
Right.
I also wear a mid-calf sock, so you got that covered anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just something that
So are you wearing thinner ones underneath this too, like cold days, obviously?
on cold days, yeah.
Huh.
Yep. On more mild days, I'll just throw these in the backpack and just wear just
Your
my
hunting pants.
boxers underneath. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get a pair of those. That's cool. I haven't seen those before.
They're sweet. That 350 weight is awesome because you can take them on and off in a minute.
Wow.
And even for like turkey hunting, if you're going into a spot and you're like, hey, I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna set up here for an hour and a half. Run in, put these things on, set up, be comfortable. Bird gobbles on the next ridge, boom, rip them off, you're going. It's not an extra deal. You can put these on and off in the same amount of time it takes you to take your glass pack on and off.
Wow.
Like it's sweet.
Okay. You sold me, I think, on those.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the Argali High Country pack of game bags. This is my 4th year using this exact pack. I've taken these things to Alaska. I've taken them whitetail hunting all over the place, packed deer out of all kinds of stuff. And before that, I always used the God, I'm blanking on the brand. They were like $15. I bought them on Amazon.
Were they like cheesecloth?
It was like the cheesecloth
rolled up.
Yes,
Game
exactly.
bags of Alaska.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And I always tried to reuse those, so I would wash them.
Yeah.
And you can do it. Like, it can be done. And I would actually.
Well, would you look at that?
There we go.
You got good taste, my friend. I was like, that looks like the one I have.
That's it. And I mean, these things, you can wash them, you reuse them. It's like they're made of some magic coating. You get them absolutely covered in blood, and all of a sudden, like a raindrop hits them and they're clean.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous. Clean up really nice. I've honestly just been throwing them. I'll throw them in like our stationary sink with some like scent-free detergent.
Yep.
Run it through there, and then I'll actually just throw them through our washing machine and dryer, and they are ready to rock.
That being said, they're not $15 though.
Yeah, they are pricier. I
A
think
little
these,
more. $60 maybe? Is that what
Yeah,
they were?
60,
Yeah.
80, somewhere in there. But man, to get game bags that these things have a lot of life in them yet.
Oh,
and
they're super durable too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing about them too is the reflective coating on them was something that I kind of like. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, when am I ever going to really need that? Last year I shot a buck in Illinois, I forgot to drop a pin on him, like after I killed him, and I knew like roughly where he was. I knew he was in like the far northeast corner of this property, and I'm walking in and I'm like, crap, I don't have like him like exactly marked. It's like 11:30 at night. Pull out my flashlight and I'm like shining. I think I'm on the ridge, and all of a sudden the ridge over just lights up, and I can see him plain as day hanging from the tree. So
now you're a believer.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's a little like overlooked feature that is actually like adds a lot of value.
For sure. Or even if you've got them hanging next to camp and you're kind of like walking around your camp, you can see it better with your headlamp, and you're not going to bump into it or something like that. But yeah, I've been running those the last few years too, Eric, and I just can't say enough good things about them. Super lightweight, super durable, like deceivingly. You don't think they would be as tough as they are.
Yeah,
no,
they're very light.
You got the reflective cord. They clean up. You get the big meat chunks and fat off, and throw them in the washer, and off you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one has some of the reflective worn off. These are very heavily used.
Careful with your saw.
Oh yeah, very heavily used. But they're tough. They clean up awesome. I mean, they do everything that you want your game bag to do. So
I think it was this size. We killed that bull this year, and it was like a probably 2-year-old bull. I think like that. It was a 4-point. But actually, like I think a hind quarter, like mostly fit in this bag. Which, I mean, there was some sticking out, but it actually
bone in.
Yeah, bone in. Yeah, I was shocked. It was loaded to the gills, and there was some spillover.
Right.
But
you got it home.
it was good enough.
yeah. Well, and like you said, Mark, on how light they are, like I just keep them in my pack, even if I am just like day hunting, and like let's say I'm whitetail hunting on a place where I can drive a truck to where I shot the buck. So, for example, the buck I killed in Nebraska this year was on a little piece of private that we actually had access to, like bring a vehicle in if we shot a deer, blah blah blah, which was sweet. But I just kept these with me because I'm like, you never know, you end up killing one on public, whatever. But actually, for that trip, then killed him on the 3rd day, and I was coming home on day 4, morning of day 4. We actually quartered the deer up rather than bring the whole deer home and then have to mess with it at home. myself and 2 buddies, you got your buddies there, you might as well just make quick work of it. We quartered them up, threw them in the game bags, got them in the truck, and I didn't have to worry about it when I got home.
Yeah,
so.
then you get home, even if you don't get the opportunity to work on the deer, maybe the fits in your freezer better. And
I have a deer tree in my front yard. The neighbors love it. I just hang them right there.
Fun
Drive
fact.
by sometime, you'll see it.
This makes a pretty decent antelope decoy too.
Really? That is a great pro tip. Yeah.
They get all sorts curious.
when Kathleen shot that deer this year, I took it home that night and broke it down. I guess I just broke it down that night into big chunks and threw them in those game bags, and I hung it from the kids' play set overnight.
Beautiful, beautiful.
She probably love that.
Yeah. Also, if you have a rough season, on the last day, wave the white flag. You're done.
Never.
Been there.
Yep. So Argali High Country game bags.
I like it. Those
Nice.
are some good ones. Mr. Ryan, what's your 5-star review?
So I got to ask, which is worse, 5-star review that you've never used a product, or the one that I constantly see, which is like best product ever, 3 stars?
Yeah, that's another one.
That's an accidental discharge when they're selecting that.
Yeah.
So I brought a couple things. I'm gonna use this one last.
Okay.
So I have entered the suppressed world.
Welcome. Welcome.
And I'm not going to say I over-indexed on it, but I went a little deep. All right, so I've lost count of how many I'm up to right now, but I've been pursuant of not necessarily like highest level of suppression, but like functional suppression, right? So I do a lot of hunting. Most of it is with a pack on my back and running around. I like really lightweight rifles. A lot of times with those lightweight rifles, they have very thin profiled barrels, and I can't hang a ton of weight off the end of them and expect any measurable success, or I'm dealing with like large point of impact discrepancies. And so I've been looking for a very lightweight suppressor that's going to do a bang up job on any of the calibers that I shoot, up to 300 Weatherby or down to say 243. And I want something that's affordable and that's also offering me a bit of flexibility or modularity in that I have some guns that have half 28 threads. I have some guns that have 5/8 24 threads. I have some metric threads. I have some guns that maybe I want to run a brake on and then adapt a suppressor to it without much fuss. And so for the past couple of years, I've been looking for a suppressor that's trying to check all those boxes. And I've either been met with concessions or I've been met with very high cost incursion. And that's fine. I mean, you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to go buy a dozen of them. You can just
Just get one.
You get one good one that does all the right things. And I believe I truly found it with the new Mack Brothers Zenith.
Oh, that's a Mack Brothers too. Okay.
Yeah. So a little bit about Mack Brothers first. They're a very small shop. They're out of Sturgis, South Dakota. They have a huge footprint within the industry. They're a major OEM manufacturer for all sorts of different things, firearms related. Everything from like chassis that would otherwise be independent chassis or chassis that go in stocks. They do a lot of action work for a lot of major firearms companies. If you've ever seen a Nosler Model 21, and I know that you have, that is a Mack Brothers action on there. And they do all sorts of widgets and gadgets, phenomenal metal finishing, and they also build suppressors, and really good ones. And last February at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo, I was introduced to this suppressor, the Zenith. And what immediately attracted me to it was the muzzle brake. I thought it was really clever. And there are certainly suppressors out there that incorporate a muzzle brake of sorts to them. Some of them do it a different way, but there's still a functional piece. You get suppression, of course, and you get recoil reduction. What I really like about it is I don't have to have the muzzle brake. Now, I don't mind a brake. I've heard a lot of people poo-poo a brake for a hunting scenario because it's going to like kick up dust or something like that. I've never personally experienced that as a major faux pas, so to speak, but it does come in the box with a closed end cap. The end cap is hub thread standard. The muzzle attachment point is hub thread standard. So what this allows you to do is if you've got a favorite muzzle device, think like muzzle brake, company that you're crazy about, and they make an adaptable hub standard thread to allow you to key into your other suppressors. You just simply change out, this one's equipped with the 5/8/24 adapter. You yank that off, you put that other hub on there, and now I can bayonet it to whatever muzzle device that I'm currently running on that platform. With the muzzle brake on, as configured, it's a pretty short can. You can see it's pretty short and squat. It's fully welded titanium, Magnum caliber rated, weighs 9 ounces. So it's in the flyweight category. There's lighter suppressors, certainly. A lot of times there's going to be a concession with that. You're going to give up some sort of functionality feature, maybe the round count that you can fire, the cadence that you can fire in without stressing that system, or you just get exorbitantly expensive. This can's $849.
Wow, that's tight.
And for a fully welded, Magnum rated, titanium, muzzle brake, end cap swappable, hub standard on the muzzle end, I challenge anybody to find a better, like truly better value in this class of suppressor.
So do those baffles come out as well, or they're stuck in
there?
Right?
They're welded in there.
Okay.
What's really cool about them
that better
is they're kind of flow through. So when you look through the muzzle end, you're going to notice like a radial arrangement of pass-through ports, and then by the time you get to the distal end of the suppressor, there's just 2 gas ports. And so there's really quite a lot of technology in that little can. And at the price, I just think it's a banger of an option. I really like the aesthetic of it too. They've got some nice little stylings on there, and I like how it's not very long. Over the past, I'd say probably 4 or 5 years, I've started switching to shorter format cartridges or rifle builds. I'm not so crazy about velocity as I used to be. And now I'm really looking for a very utilitarian package that's going to like suit my needs, and I don't want something overly long. And that's why I love that short format suppressor. The brake on there, like I said, icing on the cake. I think that's pretty slick.
Yeah, 850 is shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
impressive.
of that. So like the brake, the threaded insert, that is nuts.
I feel like we just did an information. Wait, you're telling me that's all
I
of
know,
it?
yeah.
You get the brake, you get the insert.
Wait, there's more.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. It's only like what, 6.5, 7
Yeah,
inches
it's about
or so?
7-inch can, yeah.
So you can get that suppressor and run that on this 300 Win Mag, and then take it off and put it on this 300 Short Mag that has a different thread configuration.
So long as you have the correct adapter,
Right.
the hub adapter to pull that off, absolutely.
Are those adapters like accessory pieces then that you get? Yeah.
Yep. And there's what's really encouraging is there's somewhat of a standardization going on within this industry, where before it was very much the Wild West, right? Aside from your direct threaded adaptable units, which unfortunately, like the first suppressor I ever got, direct thread, which is great, I like that. But it's a sealed unit, so I can't ever amend it. I can't change it. If I want to go from the 5/8/24 suppressor that I have, it's again a sealed unit, 5/8/24 standard, I have to get a thread adapter for my muzzle for the rifle itself, which it's not terrible. We get into a little tolerance stacking. We could have some potential alignment issues, and you end up with a baffle strike, which is no good. This is just opening up a bit more flexibility.
So here's a noob question for you, Ryan. So this is obviously a 30 cal diameter.
Yep.
Could a guy buy this and then also run it on like a 6.5?
Any caliber below.
Anything below?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that what you would recommend someone if they
That's
had,
what
if
I
they're
tell
like,
everybody.
yeah.
So I did kind of that. I also got a caliber specific can. Yeah. And again, I'm very new to suppressors, but I'm fascinated by them. From Minnesota, we couldn't have them when I lived there. That was a no-no thing. The company I work for, we actually had more suppressors in our inventory than like the entirety of all of Minnesota's law enforcement. And for me, at that point, it was just like a kind of a novelty and a tool at the same time. And so when I moved to Wisconsin, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can just buy these things." I was so resistant, and like for no good reason. Like
they've gone from taboo to, I'd say, so much more normalized.
Yeah.
Once you hunt with one, it's really hard to go back.
So
never going back.
I've gotten super
Never.
curious about it from a hunting standpoint solely for the reason of being able to hear impacts.
Yes.
Right.
Like I the hunt that stands out for me is our Alaska hunt.
Oh,
when I shot my buck. like I knew I hit that deer, but like I didn't have auditory confirmation of that boom whack, you know, whereas if I'm shooting a suppressor, like you're going to hear that just as loud as you hear that shot.
Yeah, because if you don't have your ear pro in, your ears are still ringing.
Exactly.
And if you do have them in, you can't hear anything. I think Mark and I were talking about this a month or so ago. I'm like, there's no other way.
Yeah.
That is the way.
And you know, it's funny you say that, because I was unusually resistant to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
And the first time I hunted suppressed, I killed a pronghorn, and it was kind of a poke. It was like I would say around 350 yards, but he was with like 20 other pronghorn, and I had to wait for him to jump a fence. And yes, I said pronghorn jump. I've heard people say they can't. They absolutely can jump. He jumped a fence.
Bumbles bounce.
And I waited for him to get into a clear spot, and I shot him. I shot him with a 280 Ackley, and the sound of the impact on target to me was perceptibly louder than the shot going off, which I thought was neat. All the other pronghorn, and they're pretty skittish critter, just kind of looked at him and they're like, it's a weird place to take
they
a
have
nap.
no idea what happened. Yeah.
And so I thought, oh, well, that is a desired outcome. I also didn't hype up, supercharge, make wary the other game on the property that I was hunting. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, okay, you guys got to move. I got to go out there and like cut that pronghorn up. And so I kind of like had to shoo him off. I bring all my critter back to camp in my Argali game bags, and I hang him in a tree to cool down. And my hunting partner comes back to camp. He's like looking at these game bags hanging up there. He's like, what happened? I'm like, well, I got one.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, where were you? And I said, I was over by the watering hole. And he was like maybe 1,000 to 1,200 yards away from me. There's like a slight ridge in between us, not a ton of cover. And he goes, what did you shoot it with? I said, my 280. And he's like, was I taking a nap? Like what happened? And I said, I hunted suppressed. And now it's just like the polite thing to do. Don't spook game. Keep your ears intact, although mine are shot anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just such a more comfortable way to hunt. And I think is a massive benefit overall. I've been thrilled with the experiences I've had so far, and I was so excited when these became available. I immediately ordered a couple, and I'm just bonkers about it.
That's sweet.
Yeah,
That is really cool.
That might cost me a little more than the saw.
Yeah, that's a little more than $20.
and I really do got to say, like there are cans that are out there in this weight. There are some that are lighter, and some that offer pretty much the same feature set. For the economy though, for $849.99, that is a pretty special suppressor, and great guys to deal with over there.
Bundle that with the saw.
agree.
You're still under $1,000.
Hold on. There's more.
This is like a showcase on the prices.
Yeah.
Second item on the table is also a Mack Brothers product, and this just actually hit the market a few weeks ago. I've known about this action for some time, and I'm very excited to be able to finally talk about it. This is the new Mack Brothers Element Action. So this is a builder action. This is a custom, like Remington 700 footprint turnbolt, rifle action. And so on the surface, it looks pretty innocuous. It's a Remington 700 builder receiver. If you've ever gone to a PRS match like Tucker shoots a lot of, or you spent a lot of time around people who are putting together kind of high-end custom rifles, very common format that you're going to see these come in. One thing, and I kind of alluded to this a little bit when I started describing my particular styles of rifles that I like, is I like things lightweight. So I hunt with like a Kimber Mountain Ascent, a Weatherby Super Big Game Master. These are guns that scoped and loaded come in at under 8 pounds or sometimes under 7 pounds. And it's very difficult to find an action that is going to be very lightweight. It's going to be mechanically sound. So I'm talking like material sciences there, and Tucker and I were having a conversation about metals used in action production. I want something strong. I want something reliable. I want something lightweight. And I don't really want to give up a lot of the familiarity that I have with the Model 700, the adaptability that platform brings to the table, and the commonality of parts that fit it. So what the Element is a 700 short action for now, and it's an ultralight build. So it doesn't look light. It's 19.9 ounces. So it's one of the lightest weight builder actions that you can get in a stainless, steel anyway, steel format. So it's not titanium. It's not like a bimetal design where you're using titanium, aluminum, and steel, or aluminum and steel, or anything like that. It's a full steel receiver, fluted bolt. I love the treatment that they put on these bolts. It's super slick. Yeah.
Okay.
Or if not DLC, it's probably melanite.
Okay.
I'll have to look into that. Threaded bolt knob, which is really cool. You actually save a ton of mass when you have a bolt knob that's made out of like an alloy, like aluminum. So that thing is feather light, and they've got a couple different options that you can get there. Pro tip, when you do select your bolt knob, make sure that you Loctite it on, because otherwise
super light.
that can come off.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah. It does have a titanium cocking piece shroud, but
that's great.
Yeah, save weight. I love the sculpting on it. It's spectacularly petite. And some of their other actions, full admission, I didn't care for the aesthetic of the cocking piece. I thought it was kind of ugly. And I think that thing is adorable. I think it's just absolutely lovely. Fluted bolt, it's got their novel extractor, which I think is a really brilliant design. As I mentioned earlier, standard 700 footprint for your rings and bases, however you want to have it set up. This one has on it right now a 2-piece Picatinny rail. I'm a big fan of ultralight direct-to-receiver mounts if you're really trying to peel weight off of it. Otherwise, this is the most universal solution out there. You can plug in most rings. Integral recoil lug, which I think is pretty slick.
Saw me checking.
Yep. So nothing wrong with the detachable recoil lug if it's done right. If it's pinned, even better. If it's integral, it's, I think, the best. I think it's kind of silly that there's still a lot out there that aren't integral. Assuming the machining is done right and the tolerancing is correct, why not give the customer that advantage and let the builder, if they're really good at it, take care of any other points that need to be amended during the assembly process.
I think a lot of them do that because then it takes them off the mill and gets them on a lathe, right?
Sure.
They can get that tube and then they can just machine 2 small parts, maybe for time or cost. I don't know,
Sure.
but you do see a lot of them still that way.
Right. And again, there's nothing wrong with it, right? So 75 years of bolt action rifles, well, sort of, and they've all been pretty much that way.
Good track record.
Yeah. I call it a Nisika style bolt release on the side of the receiver, as opposed to the traditional 700, which you have to get up into the trigger guard and push it forward to the trigger. That's I think a very classy and nice touch, very functional too. I don't have to be near my fire control to take the bolt out of the gun. Right now they're available with a 223 bolt face, a standard bolt face, or like a 473, and then a Magnum bolt face. If you want to build like a short mag or a PRC or something along those lines, you could certainly do that as well.
What do those cost, Ryan?
Oh, that's the best part. You'd look at an action like this.
Teed it right up.
You'd look at an action like the Element, and you'd go down the build sheet, and you're like, okay, I'm sub 20 ounces. I've got this beautiful finish. I've got excellent treatments to it. All these, fantastic accoutrement on there. You're like, well, gosh, I bet that's a $1,500 builder action. No, that's $975.
That's good.
And again, at the Mack brothers. So if you are thinking about a custom build, one of the things that catches a lot of people is we all have this idea of building kind of our perfect rifle. Concessions are going to be made somewhere. A lot of times I see people back away from that just because of cost. And, when you're looking at just the receiver costing as much as a lot of good production rifles do, equipped with the rifle scope, it maybe backs you off that ledge. Coming in at under $1,000 for everything that's here, golly, is that a win? So there are 3 of these in my future.
Nice.
The last 3 rifles I build in 2024. So super excited. Mack Brothers Element.
Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think super cool.
You didn't talk me out of it.
Look at that thing.
That is awesome. Hold on.
It's scalloped in all the right places too.
She's got some sex appeal.
They did a really good job. The lines are lovely. Everything about it is just exactly what I'm after. It's got good tolerancing too. So, and Tucker can attest to this more because he's played with a lot of like the Formula Ones of actions. You get one that's too snug, and you get a little moon dust in there, and you can have some problems. There's the correct amount of tolerancing in this. This is a field expedient action.
They can definitely make them tight if they want, but they all have a little bit of play in there. Just like you said, if something gets trapped in there, it's nice to be able to get it out.
Yep.
So
That's
what
pretty slick.
caliber are you? Is your first one gonna be?
I'm between two. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain on the series. It's going to be a 6.5 Creedmoor, a 7 Saw, not SOM, but Saw, and a 300 short mag.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I don't know is if I'm going to do the Saw or the short mag first.
I thought you were going to say 7 PRC for a second.
It doesn't. I've got a 280 Ackley, and they're
Similar.
What's the Saw going to do? I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm not either, to be honest.
So a 7 Saw is a really cool cartridge. Jimmy Jordan actually turned me on to this cartridge. Think of it like all the benefits.
Jimmy Jordan's a sleeper on unique cartridges.
Yeah.
Very sharp guy. Sees the future.
Cartridge curious.
Yeah, there it is. That's 3 in a row. So if you hang out with anybody who does a lot of goofing around with cartridges and you start talking about like efficiency, et cetera, you're going to see Ackleys come up a fair amount. And maybe more in the F-class community, less so in the PRS community. 7mm 08 Ackley is kind of a sleeper. So we're taking a standard 7mm 08 Remington and we're blowing it out to a 40-degree Ackley shoulder. And you're getting, I think, certainly appreciable gain to the performance that you would over a standard 708, which, as I've mentioned before, is a very underrated cartridge. The 7 Saw is effectively the factory brass available solution to 708 Ackley without going through some of the backflips that you may have to do with an Ackley cartridge. So I have a 280 AI. I love the cartridge. It's unbelievably capable. I got to do a lot of futzing around to get it the way I want it. And I love that. I love tinkering. That 7 Saw, I'm toning down the recoil a little bit. I'm saving a little bit in powder consumption. I'm getting appreciably similar performance. I'm not going to say it's the same, but it's like this close. To 280 AI. I'm doing it in a short action. I'm not super crazy about short action. It'd be long action, but it's a talking point anyhow. And it's based on common brass. And if I had to, I could make it out of 308 Winchester without even trying. But I can go to Alpha Munitions and I can go buy standard brass, which is some of the most svelte rifle brass I've ever had the opportunity to work with. So
I am just going to point out, though, Ryan.
Yeah.
He said, why not a
PRC?
7 PRC?
Sure.
And then you said, because I have a 280 AI.
And then he's
And
building
then
the
you
7
said,
Saw.
I'm building the 7 Saw, which comes close to the 280 AI.
That's what I heard, too. Yeah.
But nothing about 7 PRC is earth-shattering to me from a performance standpoint of what I'm already using.
Yeah, similar.
Right? The 7 Saw is getting me to what I wanted in my 280 AI, but it's eliminating the noise that I had to work with the 280 AI. Going to the 7 PRC, this is my opinion. I think it's a fine cartridge. I'm subjecting myself to undue recoil. I'm subjecting myself to much more powder consumption than is necessary. I like these small format cartridges. And the PRC is a fantastic turnkey solution. It's not for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's fair. We'll give him that.
Still probably going to get one.
Yeah, I'm building one. I'm building one right now.
Yeah.
All right. Am I up?
You're up.
I'm done. I'm
Mark,
done.
what do you have today?
Ryan, I loved that. I loved all that, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Excuse me, clear my throat a little bit. All right. First up from my end, I'm going to go with little
there
item
it
that I
is.
use
Got one of
in the
those.
tree stand. I've been using this the last couple of years. This is the HYS strap from
Hang
Tethrd.
your stuff.
Hang your stuff. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Eric.
Way to steal his thunder.
I waited all
You know
day
what,
for
Eric?
this.
Why don't I just put my items over by you? Why don't you go through them? There.
Start.
So what the nice thing about this is it's a modular system.
No, I mean it's fairly simple. What would you call this?
Daisy
just
chain.
like a daisy
Modular.
chain,
Yeah.
you know, and it's got a little clippy. You strap it around the tree, tighten her up, and off you go. You've got just a bazillion attachment points. These S clips are an accessory, and they just you pull them off, put them on wherever you feel. But man, for years if I remembered to carry a bow
Easy
hanger or a screw-in hook or something like
Yep.
that, oftentimes I just end up holding my bow all the time, and then my
Or you
hand would
forget
get
it in the
cold.
tree.
Or you forget it in the tree, and yeah,
It's true.
I'm forgetting. There's many Realtree easy hangers scattered about properties. And yeah, Yeah, I would. If you should have bought stock in Realtree easy hangers when I was using those, 'cause they were disposable.
Yeah, I mean, this is so I hang my bow. So this is the clip. Came with like the
Little
kit of
S-beaner.
clips that I bought, but so I'll hang my bow on that, and it's lightweight. I'll generally if I'm running my saddle system, I'll keep this in the same pocket that I keep my tether in. If I'm running my climbing stand, I just throw this in the side pocket of my pants. When I get to the top of the tree, I'll put that on there.
I was going to say cargo pocket compatible.
Yeah,
definitely.
it works really good. And then depending on the size of the tree, I'll end up moving my clips around, man, I really like this. Like, this has been kind of a game changer for me.
Yeah, I still bring my pack a lot of times when I'm saddle hunting. Obviously, you got to have your stuff, and the little tail that hangs down. Typically, I'll hang my pack off of that, so I can still get water and food. And it really does hold the weight, and it is elite when it comes to hanging stuff without holes.
I'll generally leave one clip, like you said, like kind of towards the tail end here, and then hang my pack from that, and it also keeps the pack. When I feel like when you get it lower like that, it's not
out of the way.
It's out of the way. It's not competing when you want to shoot or whatever.
Fits a wide variety of tree diameters,
large
big trees.
Yeah, more than I can reach around.
I was going to say big enough that you can't reach around.
Yeah,
Michael.
He used your full name.
Yeah, I like these. I like the little hooks that come with it. What I actually did with mine, we were talking about this yesterday, is I in the spirit of the hockey tape again, hockey taped all of mine just to keep them quiet. But also when doing that, I taped them so they're always open like that.
Okay.
They just become a hook.
And they just become a hook.
You can actually pull that little clip out. So I have done that on a few. Just get rid of that little clipper. That is good because sometimes those are a pain to get off.
I want to toss you a pro tip.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people talk about hockey tape.
Yeah.
There's a product that you can get at most outdoor stores.
I was going to say duct tape.
Rubberized undercoating. Comes in an aerosol application.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You spray
like Plasti Dip type stuff, but in a spray can.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
And it's a very dead thing, right?
Yeah.
It's going to build up a little bit, but so does tape.
Right. Absolutely.
And it does, like, think of like you get a bloody hand and you touch that saw. Not that you'd be using that necessarily for breakdown, but then like the tape holds.
Yeah, it's all gross.
Yeah, rubberized undercoat.
That is
rubberized undercoat.
That's a pro tip. That is a pro tip. Tune in. You might see it on the 2024.
Just a can of Rust-Oleum rubberized
Absolutely.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I'm gonna look into this.
Come back next year.
Yeah.
See if it made the cut.
No, and that's I used one of these. The first one I used, Ernie Power talked me into it. He's like, "Oh, if you don't have this," he's like, "you're losing time in the field and struggling." I did that bear hunt in northern Minnesota, where I saddle hunted out of there, and I had everything up off the ground because I didn't want hardly any scent or anything on the ground, and I had that daisy chain just absolutely loaded with all my widgets and gadgets, and that was quite wonderful. Works for the bow, works for the rifle.
Yeah, I mean, and you can hang any number of things from it. I oftentimes leave my
quiver,
my bino harness on my chest, but I did actually experiment with taking it off this year. I hung it on there. And
Graham does that. He'll put his right on that thing.
Yeah. I even and then I left it open. It was almost kind of like a bino bucket type thing, like where I'd use them, drop them in, and
What I actually did with this as well, because like it's you always have it with you. The saddle stuff is so light, it's so modular. A couple occasions I ended up hunting on the ground, and I still just would tuck myself close to a tree, and I would just wrap this around a tree, and I would just hang my bow on it and facing the direction I expected a deer from. Because if you got your bow on your lap, you got to do this. Versus like if you got a tree right here, you think the deer's going to come there, it becomes this. So you cut that motion from this to that, and it's super handy.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
Rubberized undercoating and placement of bows.
Yes, exactly.
All right. I like it. Next up, I've actually got a couple light options here, but this little jobber is from luminAID, solar-powered inflatable lantern.
Wow.
Pretty cool. I don't take it every time. I'm pretty weight conscious myself, and this, although it's extremely lightweight, I still don't take it every time. But man, when I have it, so nice. It's got this little, you can adjust this. You hang it from the inside of your shelter. Casts a lot of light. I mean, you probably won't be able to tell entirely when you're in here, but it
That's
casts
good in the dark.
Yeah.
And then you're not using up your headlamp batteries
That's the
in the
biggest thing.
tent looking for something. And it casts a glow over the whole tent. So like if you do need to find something, it's not like you have to hit it with your headlamp. Like, okay, I'm looking right here. Like it really does light up the whole shelter.
It looks really lightweight too.
That's the biggest problem with using your headlamp is it casts a beam versus that's an area light.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many stages of illumination does that rascal have? Oh, it's got a flasher.
It's got a flasher.
That's for
too.
disco parties. In the
Yeah, in the tent.
Mood lighting or party tent?
Very low intensity disco, but nonetheless.
I've run it for several hours actually before it went out, and then if it does go out, you're leaving it at camp.
Is that a solar panel on top?
Yeah, it's a solar panel on
Yeah,
top.
I might have to get one of those. We have one that we bring, and it's much heavier than that. That
Yeah,
looks
that's
super
super
light.
It's got even a little little charging port on top.
Oh,
too.
you can charge
They
it
make
too.
a few different models, so some have more or less of these features.
thing,
But
Mark.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Oh yeah, that's way better.
I'm looking this up.
luminAID.
Lemonade.
All right, Mark, you sold me.
Any idea what you paid for?
Yeah, how much is this?
they're
cost?
not. I don't recall exactly, but they're not bad.
And then there's I was like, okay, it gets smaller and bigger.
So
I
I
couldn't
mean,
find the plug. It's on the bottom.
and then essentially, yeah, when you
I was gonna undo it, but then I knew that like your mouth has to go on that later.
so.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
Oh, there you go.
$50.
If you draw it backwards, does it kind of pull air in, or do you kind of have to blow into the?
Oh, it probably yeah.
It'll get some probably, huh?
Could you use that to inflate your inflatable? Now push it back.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't think I would
That's
use
not
it
enough,
for that.
not enough.
I was looking
application.
for I was looking for dual use here.
You're looking like for some billows pump for
Yeah,
your sleeping bag.
I misspoke.
I mean, sounds
$30.
sounds
Even
like a little
better.
hack
There you
job.
go, Mike.
he said there were a couple different.
993 reviews, all 5 stars.
That's,
There you go.
That's elite. At least half of those people have used it.
Shipped fast, 5 stars.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Right.
Product as advertised.
So
Pretty slick.
I like
Yeah,
that
that's
one,
cool.
Mark.
That's cool.
there you go. My other light that I used just this last year that I really like is this PEAX headlamp. So it's rechargeable, which I've in general stayed away from rechargeable things just because I felt like
Headlamps for sure.
a failure rate, and I don't know. I don't know. This one I think's done a really nice job. It's got multiple brightness settings.
It's got a bright red too.
Yeah.
Not like a we have a red,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
a functional low light
Right.
nav red.
And so I believe you have three intensity levels of white and 3 intensity levels of red. That's your
That's
bright. Like I said, it's rechargeable. So this little cap here, you just unscrew that. You can access your charger. So if you've got like your dark energy or something like that, and you want to recharge the battery,
Thank you for
can do
that notable mention too, by the way, because I forgot it.
Well, I thought that was kind of like my
Little
little
teaser.
dovetail in
Oh,
because
yeah,
I know
yeah.
you mentioned that. When you charge it, like it would, if it needed charge, this little light, or it would be like a light indicator, it would be red. It would it would change to green once it was charged, and then there's not like a right or wrong way to orient the light, right? Like it's kind of like universal. So like you don't have to worry about like, oh, did I get this? It's not pointing how I want. You can just
Do it both
this
ways.
kind of the unique mounting system here, and it also has a pretty unique battery. So I don't recall the exact runtime that you can expect to get out of it.
Oh, that's like a
18650.
16800 or whatever. Yeah, something like that.
18650.
So that's kind of a big daddy.
So
It's
you
nice that
could,
it's user serviceable.
yeah, you could
That's
hot,
nice.
you could hot swap
So
a
you-
battery
you
in there,
have
too.
both.
Yeah, you can. Well, not only when the battery inevitably gives up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can replace it and you don't have to trash the light.
Yeah.
But you could have multiples of those that
Yeah.
are charged and swap through it.
Hot
Right.
swap.
So that if you're on a trip and you don't have access to plugging it, that's pretty cool.
An
Knowing-
18650 is a powerful cell too. That's a very awesome battery.
I mean, I've run it on. I can't remember what intensity level for several hours, though.
Let's see that thing, Marco.
Knowing how this ran, that's actually what made me ask the question of yours, because I know
Yeah.
I can recharge it, but I can also hot swap a battery.
That is cool. That's the biggest thing with rechargeable headlamps is once you're done, you're kind of done unless you have a backup, right? Which
Right,
most of
yeah.
us do, but that's very cool. If you don't have a charger, your solar charger charged, you can easily throw a battery in. That is cool, and that's a big battery.
I haven't decided if I want to carry an extra. I mean, I already carry one dark energy with me,
Yeah.
I haven't decided if I want to carry an extra battery or an extra headlamp. I'm still probably leaning. Of course, maybe I'm leaning towards both. I'll probably carry both. Here I'm talking about shaving weight.
I'm very weak.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry.
Because of my propensity to lose things, though, I
gotta have
think
light.
I think I'm more inclined to carry 2 lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 is 1, 1 is none.
Yeah.
Well, so I've got a
Because
fun.
the battery's not going to do anything when I lose my light.
That's true. That's true.
I carry now 2 headlamps because one time I looked into my glove box where my headlamp was. We don't need that. We're going to be out there for like 3 hours, and then 14 hours later, I got back to my truck, injured, cold, and wet. So,
With no lights.
yeah, with no lights. So I'm a 2 light guy now, but I do carry a rechargeable, like straight rechargeable. I carry a little Petzl Bindi,
Oh,
which
okay.
is
Yeah.
they weigh nothing.
Yeah.
They're actually screaming bright. They do charge very quickly. They don't have terrible discharge. They've got pretty good runtime if you run them on low. Which for like walking not super technical ground is fine. But with this thing, you could shoot down Starlink with that. I mean,
It's a cool headlamp, and probably not the lightest one on the market, but its functionality, I've really enjoyed it thus far.
Heard a lot of good things about that light from a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a stack battery compatibility with 18650s?
As far as
Like you take
2
two
123s or something? I don't know.
it depends on the light, is my understanding.
Okay.
Also, is that 18650? Because 18 is like the diameter, and
I
then
don't know
millimeters.
anything about batteries.
Yeah.
and so there's like 20 and 16 and others. But regardless, the biggest thing that I've run into with 18650s is there are little dimensional variances.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll get like, hey, I bought batteries that have this
Yeah.
brand name on them, and they don't work with this other device.
Yeah,
even
they
though
don't
it
get
should
they
be
don't get the
standardized.
contact right. I've had
No,
that issue
and
too.
then there's others that you need the battery that has flat contacts, and you need the battery that has a flat contact on
And a
one side
bulge
and a
positive.
bulge positive
Huh.
on the other side.
Dude,
so
Yeah, that thing is bright.
that red is like a no
Yeah.
BS.
Yeah, you
red.
can shine it across and like it lights up that back wall.
I guess the answer is just get the exact same battery.
Yeah.
For
well,
that
and what I
situation.
did was I went through, and I don't remember at this point, but I tested like, okay, I've got mod lights, I've got stream lights, and I've got SureFires that all take 18650s, and I found one battery that will work in all of them.
There you go. Stick with that
And so
one.
I was like, okay, that's the one that I'm going to continue to
Sure.
purchase,
Yeah.
and and it works in all of them. But
Who would have known you were like this battery connoisseur, man?
Oh,
I mean,
dude,
game
Mike-
recognized game right now.
Mike
The guy
is-
knows his batteries.
Yeah.
Not only that, like Mike is the guy
He's
to
the
have
guy.
on your S hits the F situation.
Yeah, that's
roster.
good.
He can fix you. He can fix most things. I
Shoot.
think he can cook well.
Yeah.
I try.
Smells nice.
Man,
Wonderful smile.
Taylor Myers was high up on mine, but I'm starting to think
Uh-oh.
about Mike.
Taylor.
Not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Starting to think about Mike now.
Taylor's the guy you go to for gear.
Yeah.
He's the gear guy.
I came into work this morning with a nice thing of coffee on my desk from him that
Yeah.
he made.
Unbelievable.
What did he say? It was let me look
Did-
this up. This is noteworthy. It
His
was
Mylar bag.
It says, there's sealable tea bags, specifically tea sack, filled with 2 tablespoons of coffee, sealed with an iron and tossed in a Mylar bag, then sealed for freshness.
That's when
Taylor with a little heart
And
on
his
it.
beautiful handwriting.
Wow.
So does he like
You must have done something right.
roast coffee or?
No, he just got some
I
good
got.
coffee. And
Okay,
yeah.
and he's
Let me
sharing
check
the wealth.
Snapchat.
Okay.
There's
I mean, it sounds like-
single-serve steep bags of coffee that he made. He sealed it with an oxygen absorber, so it should be fresh come hunting season. You can thank my grandma for the inspiration. LOL.
Wow. That's elite.
Yeah,
that is.
Not gonna
next
lie.
level.
Where's the part that says thanks for last night?
He didn't read that solid on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the next message. That's why it's all in Snapchat.
Yeah, bunch of emojis.
Gone.
Mark, do you know about what consumer would expect to pay for something like this?
Got to be $100.
I think they're about $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
But aluminum housing, and
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of value there. And that 18650 specifically, those are really good at taking charge, discharging, and then taking charge over time. Like they're a commonly found battery for applications like that. And they're
It is compact too, man. Like I get that it's not the lightest option, but it's not bad.
And you can get those 3 and 4 battery chargers for that specific
Yeah.
battery. So you can charge 4 of them up at hunting camp or a hotel break mid hunt or whatever, and you can charge them all at once, and then you're done.
Here's what I like about it the most, Marco. It appears well used and very, very functional. Like I can tell you've used the heck out of this thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's been a great light, man. I've really enjoyed it so far.
I feel like lighting products had a strong showing.
I
this
know.
year.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
for sure.
2024 is
Yeah,
bright.
that's 3.
I had a customer back in the day that called flashlights dark suckers, and I loved it.
They called them what?
Dark suckers.
Dark suckers.
Yeah.
Interesting. I got
Think
one
you
more
got
thing.
one more.
Okay,
over there,
I got
Mark.
one more
What do you got
thing.
now?
So a couple years ago, Eric, and actually,
I didn't know you played the flute.
I shot a deer, and I had my beloved grunt call, not this one, around my neck. I think I did the cardinal sin of I probably took some stuff off, got hot, threw gear down. Anyway, I lost it. It was a grunt call that my brother had given me for Christmas when I was a kid.
Oh, no.
And I think it was from a company. I think it was from Big River Game Calls,
Oh.
which probably most known for like flute style
Yes.
goose calls.
Yeah.
This was one of their grunt calls. I haven't been able to find a replacement for it online. I loved it. It had sentimental value. I'm still
Man,
sad
Marco.
about losing it. It breaks my heart. But the tone on that thing was a flipping buck killer. I killed deer with that grunt call. I think it had a very distinct difference to its tone that killed deer. Sometimes I'd use a different grunt call.
Nothing.
And nothing, and then
Wow.
I'd use that one. I mean, I've killed deer with that grunt call. Anyway, very sad.
I'm
I've been
noticing
looking
a trend here with you and losing your items.
Yeah.
Get you some air tags for Christmas.
Yeah.
Hey,
Tune in for my 2025 list or 24.
Walks into the
we
woods
can
with
also
like
we can
40
also use
air
those to
tags.
find his spots.
Yeah. Oh, good call. Oh, here you go, Mark. It's all tuned into my phone.
Yeah.
But man, I believe I am a believer that like there's a certain tone that I'm personally looking for in a grunt call. And Eric,
I
you guys know
100%
I don't
agree.
claim to be a master whitetail hunter by any stretch of the imagination. You can check my punched tags thus far this season. But I feel like a lot of them are a little bit too low.
Yeah.
Can you give me a toot on that?
Yeah, let's hear it. Sounds like a deer.
Yeah. That's a good grunt call.
Yeah. Huh?
Here's what I like about that, Marco. It has a bit of a nasally sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never heard a buck come in that just is like bellowing. Like it's coming out of its like a lot. I agree with you that a lot of them are too low.
Like baritone.
Yes, exactly. You need that tenor, and that is a tenor grunt call.
So I should mention the model. This is
let's hear it.
This is the Phelps Beta Pro. Now I'd also say, I like to do this, Ryan. In the grand scheme of grunt calls, it's a more expensive grunt call.
$80.
Yeah, it's about an $80 grunt call. I think it's got some higher end materials. It's
Yeah.
proven to be extremely durable. I must tell you that I do love the OD green color.
That's pretty cool.
Looks good in the trees.
Yeah.
I like the the grunt tube part or whatever, the flexible part. I like that it is. I don't know for I don't have a different word other than like corrugated, just because whether it does or it doesn't, to me it does mimic kind of like the esophageal
Right. Yeah.
like
yeah.
form factor, where maybe that is part of it, imparting sound, maybe not. I have no.
Tracheal rings.
There you go.
Rings of the trachea.
Esophageal, I don't
Yeah.
think's in the Webster,
you're-
but
Yeah.
I
Your
knew it.
esophagus.
We knew what
Mike-
you
That's
meant.
what your
What
food
Mike
goes
said,
down.
yeah, the trachea.
Mike's eyes just over there twitching.
It's like, no.
Can you make any other vocalizations on it?
To my knowledge, it is just a grunt call.
Okay.
Is it an inhale, exhale, or only an exhale?
I have only exhaled on
What
it.
happens if you blow through the other side?
Or stuck to the other side.
We'll do that off camera. Yeah, I'm digging it. And it did work this year. On my best sit of the rut this fall, I set up on kind of this ridge system that was a saddle, that was also an oak flat, that had good bedding on one side and also some egg that was not that far away. Like, it was a spot of spots. And I was seeing deer all morning from daylight up until about 10 a.m. I was seeing deer. I was seeing some of the deer come back through, this, that, the other, mostly does. And then I think it was about 10 a.m. A couple does come out, followed by a nice buck. And I'm like, oh, I'll shoot that buck. Like, for sure, 3-year-old buck, maybe 4. Boom, out pops another buck. They proceed to have a little bit of a rut fest. I mean, there's running around, chasing, grunting, deer going in circles. I'm like, this could turn out good. That when that second buck came out and he was kind of separated a little bit, I called at him with this grunt call. He proceeded. I got his attention, and he was coming in on a string. I grabbed my bow. I've got tension on the string. I'm like, this is going to happen. I'm going to get like a 20-yard shot. I mean, this deer is just like coming right down the pipe to me. I hear something down and to the right of me. I'm expecting it to be yet another deer because I've seen tons of deer this morning. It's a person.
I was going to say, it's out
Why?
there.
Why were they there?
Because
That's
they
what they
were
do.
changing spots. And
That's what that, 9 a.m. It's
Then
my
I-
favorite.
People be people.
I tried to get this person's attention. I'm like, and eventually get
gosh.
their attention. But then at that point, the whole thing's blown up and,
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
over.
Dude, that hurts.
That does
hurts
hurt.
to listen to.
So it was nice. I mean, that buck was like, it was for
He was
sure.
coming.
He was coming, and it was definitely one of the best opportunities at probably one of the best deer that I saw this fall.
That's
So,
brutal.
I didn't know that happened to you, Mark.
so proof of concept.
Yeah.
Nothing in the freezer.
Did you know this individual?
I did not know.
Did you get to know this individual?
No.
Will this individual ever know anyone again?
Yes.
He's in the freezer.
Swap
Weird
places.
place.
Yeah.
Can I see the grunt call?
Don't blow on it.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't want to.
He's a real germy. He's a germy
I
guy.
got a cold.
Oh, so
I don't want you to get sick.
Nobody can. Okay.
Give her a rep.
No, I won't. Mark doesn't like that kind of thing.
He might give it to you.
So yeah, the Phelps Beta Pro. I dig it. I like
Nice.
it. So maybe.
Been
I
looking
found
for
my-
one. You might have sold me, Mark.
Yeah.
Notable mention, as Mark had alluded to earlier, we've got a couple of devices on the table that require charging.
Mhm.
And for the second annual Gear and Review, I have forgot an item to highlight.
Oh, sure.
And I wanted to bring, and Mike and I talked about this yesterday, the Dark Energy Poseidon Pro, which is a mobile power pack. It looks about the size of a standard iPhone or smartphone. Massive capacity, very high IPX rating, drop proof, shock proof, waterproof. Actually, look at this. Of course, our very own. This is a Poseidon Pro. They also come in orange, which is what I'm on a big orange kick these past couple of months. Love them, right? So USB in, and then I think that's the new USB that's rounded. Yeah, on the out. Has a light on it. And does this thing have power right now? It does. I pushed the wrong button. So it's got a flashlight, and it has an SOS beacon as well. It's not super bright, but it's enough to get you by in a pinch. They come with a lanyard and a carabiner that you can clip onto stuff. Like I'd mentioned, they're ruggedized, waterproof, shockproof, run them over.
See how heavy that thing is.
Not very.
That's light.
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
12,000
That's
milliamp
like
hours.
a third of what mine weighs.
Yeah. So you can
Poseidon Pro.
charge an
That is
iPhone
light.
off that rascal quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And power your devices. So all of the items that we looked at that took power today are powered by the Poseidon.
Just the weight alone.
Yeah.
Is shocking. Compared to conventional storage. I mean, that's not even
Absolutely.
close.
That's another item that fits real nice in that front
Yep.
pouch of the glass pack.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I keep one hung on the inside of my pack, and then I'll run my power cordage up and out. So if I'm sitting somewhere and I need power to whatever, I just pop my power cordage and plug it in.
Oh, interesting.
And then I keep another one at camp. But I've got several of the Gen 1 models, and then now I've got the 2 of the new Pros. And absolutely love them.
Poseidon Pro is what that's called. Okay.
From Dark Energy.
Dark Energy. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay.
Bonkers tough product.
They are bomb-proof.
Outstanding capacity on them. They can keep your devices that require rechargement charged. And they've got a flashlight. And who doesn't like a flashlight? Bonus flashlight.
A lot of lights.
Another lighted object.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I love that. I love that battery.
Great company too.
Yeah.
So
100%.
They even have another new one out right now for the designed, I think, specifically for phones.
The Nano.
The Nano.
Yep, I got one of those.
That is magnetized.
Yep.
So like if you've got a MagView adapter, any of the the modern they just magnet right onto the back of an iPhone.
Wow.
And just charge it up straight that
That's
way.
cool.
And I think they have ports on them too in addition.
Yeah. Yep.
So it magnets right to your phone. You don't have to worry about running a cord. That's what I do right now. Is I have a muff under my bino harness, and I'll keep that in the muff with a hand warmer to keep that thing warm, and then I'll run the cord into my pocket. But with that new one, there's no cords involved, which is pretty sweet.
Yep. The Poseidon Pro.
A lot of good things.
I like it. Yep. MC Ryan comes through in the clutch.
Of course.
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
Let me see that saw.
See if you can smell it and see what kind of tree that is on there.
You remember that Home Improvement episode? Don't you know what I'm talking about? They blindfold Al, and they give him a board. American red cedar, and he's like, gives another one like redwood, and then cypress, and then Tim takes his sock off.
That's
white
pretty slick.
oak.
Yeah,
it's a cool saw.
Snag one of those.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I like it. Well,
good stuff.
Fun conversation, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks, everybody, for listening. There you have it, the 2023 Gear in Review. Did we convince you to buy any of these items? Let us know. What did you use this year that you're like, oh, man, this is like a must-have. It's going to be in my pack all the time or often? Because this obviously isn't everything that's out there, so we like new gear. New gear is fun.
Yep.
New year. New gear. New me.
Wow.
What do you?
That's what people say. New year, new me.
What are you buying?
Oh gosh, I don't know. For sure the saw. I really like that suppressor. I really like that action.
I need some zip offs.
Zip offs. Because you can't get anywhere else a zip off of that weight.
Yeah,
you can't.
That's a heavy weight.
And
that is my favorite weight.
It's like long underwear is great, but it's never quite enough.
It needs to do something.
It needs more.
Yeah.
I've honestly never seen zip off.
I haven't either.
Underwear.
They're awesome. Here, I'll show you a little picture of me using it.
Fantastic.
All right.
We'll
Thanks,
drop
everybody.
That in the link
Thanks,
below.
everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.
We'll catch you on the next one. Happy New Year, everybody.
See ya.
Eric, put your pants on.
There you have it, folks. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, give this video a like if you liked it, comment something below, and give us a subscribe to the Vortex Nation podcast channel. It would mean a lot to us. Also, why don't you give us a follow over on Instagram while you're at it, at Vortex Nation Podcast. We'd love to hear from you over there, and we'll keep you updated with all kinds of cool photos and videos from our adventures that we do here. Otherwise, we will see you on the next one. Thank you again. Happy hunting and shooting, everybody. Have a good one.